1. Fantasy Football League. 12 members, all related, fighting for the same thing. One epic punishment. That punishment is the romper. This is the Men's League.
Hello there and welcome. I'm your host Andrew Goldman. A happy belated Thanksgiving to you and all your family. I hope you're all sitting down with your maple syrup gravy and drinking your nice Molsons as they wash down your nice turkey dinner. Quite nice there, eh? Sorry I'm in my Canadian suit this week as I was feeling a little festive. And sorry for all you Americans out there who think this great day should be celebrated in November. Sorry, and a final sorry for all this long intro. Well, let's get right to the action. Sorry!
In a wild week, I'm only here so I don't wear a romper finally looked human after 4 dominant weeks as Balls Deep took the rompers deep, as DeMarco found him, Murray was bottled up, and Melvin Gordon made the Giants D split like Odell's ankle. Leonard, 4-1 net, torched the Steelers for 31 points, but that wasn't nearly enough, as I'm only here so I don't wear a romper. Stars seem to be like the Giants wide receivers right now, non-existent. Rompers 95, Deep 131. That wasn't all, as the middle spoons made the long trip down to play My Balls Are Inflated. But the plane ride had no effect on them. My Balls Are Inflated looked more like My Balls Are Frozen. Quick question, Boom. Would that affect the PSI? Great question, Teach. For obvious reasons, I won't answer that, but you could ask Lance Armstrong for some advice. He's gone to the mountains with some inflated balls before. But Carson Wentz back, and found 27 points. And AJ Green should be AJ Blue after the way he inflated balls' score. But that still wasn't enough. Spoons 124, inflated 105. Next, the Golden State Warriors made the Skin Fluties think about 0-5 Del Beckham Jr., as Beckham went for 22 points and Aaron Rodgers nearly doubled Tom Brady's points. And Cameron, Harvard grad Braid, had 18 points. But the biggest storyline in this matchup was the injuries, and you never like to see this. First, for the Chinese, Odell Beckham is out for the year with an ankle injury, and Jordy Pop the Shorty Nelson was missing for the Packers late in the fourth quarter. For the Fluties, Devontae Parker injured his ankle. For more on these injuries, we bring in our resident doctor, Andrew Goldman. Andrew, thanks for joining us, and a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thanks, Andrew, and a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. And yes, Odell Beckham Jr. has a left fibular fracture and is out for the year. And Jordy Nelson was held out of the final drive and is unknown what sort of injury he sustained. We should receive more information as the week progresses, but Devontae Parker left the game early. He sprained his ankle and is questionable for next weekend. Injuries are not what the Skin Fluties need at this point, as a win could vault them slightly out of Romper Watch. That's all for the injuries in this matchup, and I will be back for the show, Where It Hurts section of this show. Next, in the Stephen Bowl, the Soccer Movers' newly acquired pieces Matthew Stafford and Ezekiel Elliott combined for 30 points, which ended up being the deciding points that led the Soccer Mover to a win. Duke Dispence Johnson Jr. had 17 points and Jimmy Graham Crackers had 16 points, but the biggest surprise of the day was Harrison Butker, who kicked 5 field goals and 3 extra points, as he totaled 21 total points. Sox managed to win 132-102, as Team Manly's men is dropped into severe romper watch. Next, Clinton Dix for Harambe played the Teabaggers as Deshaun Watson seems to have his change name to Deshaun Holmes, as he managed to solve all the defenses that he has to play. But that wasn't enough, as Will Fuller managed to have 2 catches, but also 2 touchdowns, and Alex Smith continued his incredible dominance. Some may wonder if the end is near for this magical season, but there isn't an end in sight. Clinton Dix for Harambe continues its winning ways as they advanced 5-0, and the Teabaggers fell further into romper watch as they are now 0-5, as Clinton Dix for Harambe beat the Teabaggers 133-110. And in our final matchup of the week, Madison Madness played Jack's Giant Jags in what many have been saying is a mini romper bowl. As both these teams look like they're fighting to try to avoid the romper, but that didn't hit with Jack's Giant Jags. They seem to be missing currently many people, and many of them are wondering what happened to this team, as they start off 2-0 and haven't been able to put together a single win. Madison Madness avoids the romper watch for another week, as they pull out the win, 104-90.
Recap that was, and in a busy holiday weekend, I would like to share a nice holiday trip of my own. Let's tell a quick little story here, if that's okay with you there, eh? Anyways, me and my family went up north to Labrador. We stopped at a nice new Timmy's and we got a nice new ice cap. A nice great flavor, and we nice played some nice pond hockey too. Then we went down south to Toronto and we saw the Maple Leafs play the Penguins. And man, that Austin Matthews kid, he's quite the talent there, eh? Never seen a guy quite like him. Anyway, after the Maple Leafs scored and Mitch Marner had the nice hat trick, me and my friends decided to go get a nice Molson. And man, you can really tell the nice kilos I put on this week. That turkey really did me in. Anyways, that's the end of my story. Let's get right to our next segment as Show Me Where It Hurts with our resident doctor, Andrew Colgan.
Thanks, Andrew. It's great to be back. And look, even Steve's getting into the holiday spirit. The biggest injury this week was Tyler Eifert. Can you give us more insight on that injury? Yes. He seems to have suffered a severe spinal disc injury right in the back here, and he seems to be out for the rest of the year. In other news, Charles Clay suffered a brutal knee injury. Can you give us some insight there? Yes, he tore his right knee meniscus and looks to be out for at least a month. Now to the quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota really looks as if he should be returning this week from a hamstring injury. Is there anything you can tell us about him? Yes, he seems to be returning this week from a relatively minor hamstring injury that kept him out last week, but he seems to be a full go for this week. And finally, Derek Carr suffered a back injury. Any more information on that? Derek Carr suffered a transverse process fracture and seems to be rehabbing quite nicely. And it looks as if he'll return on the earlier side from that 2 to 6 week guideline he had. Thanks, Andrew. That's some really great insights from such a distinguished medical professional. In other news, we now go to our trade expert, Andrew Colgan, as he has some more insight on a recent trade and the brand new introduction of the collusion meter. And Andrew, this one broke the meter. What is your opinion on this trade?
Trade went down and I still can't believe the uproar it has caused. The trade involved Tyreek Hill, a world-class talent, for a low-end running back, including Joe Mixon. The two managers swear that there is no collusion, but many league members disagree. It's hard not to see that there's some obvious collusion going on here, and man, our collusion meter shattered. Normally, a trade will get like a 4 or 5. This one broke the scale. Doesn't work anymore. Don't know what we're going to do. Back to you, Andrew.
In breaking news from the league this week, as Ezekiel Elliott has just been suspended for the next 6 games. Well, actually 7 there. But because of this bye this week, he'll have that 6-game stretch after, which could affect the fantasy playoffs if anything else delays this suspension. Let's go on, moving on to our final segment here, which is just a goodbye. I'm sorry I have to go, but I got a nice family too to hang out with. Anyway, for all our reporters and myself, Andrew Colgan, this is the Fantasy Show. Have a good day.